In this video, I'm going to show you how to do quadratic regression with a graphing calculator. So if you have like this type of calculator or if you have this type of calculator, this is going to work. So this is a problem from our notes. It's example 5. It's talking about training for a discus throw. X is going to be the horizontal distance the discus has traveled in meters, and then height is the Y. So what this question is asking us to do is use quadratic regression to predict the height of the discus when it has traveled 15 meters from S to Y. So in order to do this, we first have to create an equation to represent the data. Now, when it says quadratic regression, we are not going to be doing that by hand necessarily. We're going to be using the graphing calculator. And basically what we're doing is we have all of these random points that would look like a parabola, and the calculator is going to figure out what line best fits those points, or by line I mean curve. So it's very similar to when you had scatter plots. You made a line of best fit, you found the equation of that line. So this is basically going to have points that look like a parabola. The calculator is going to figure out what equation best fits those points. So to do that, we first have to enter our data into the graphing calculator. So you are going to start by going to the stat option because we have a whole bunch of statistics that we need to enter. So you're going to click enter, option 1, and you're going to edit. So L1 means list 1, L2 is list 2. You're going to put your X's in list 1 and your Y's in list 2. So it's the same table, it's just this is vertical instead of horizontal. So I'm going to start excuse me, by just entering all my X values. And I'm just entering them like this. So then 7, 8, 9, 10. After every number, I just hit enter. And then I'm going to go over to list 2, and I'm going to type in my Y values exactly the same way I did. So I'm trying to show the whole calculator. So we'll have 1.75 as our first Y value. And I'm going to enter that and just press enter. 2.71, enter. And then we'll have 3.52. So this is a little bit of a tedious process. Okay, so I went ahead and paused the video. I finished putting my numbers in, and then hopefully you can see the whole calculator now. I adjusted the camera. So I have my X's here, my Y's here. And I am urging you to double, triple check your numbers, make sure everything is correct, because even if one tiny number is off, it can mess up the whole thing. So we now have our statistics or our data in the calculator. Now we're going to tell it to figure out the equation. So stat is kind of our home base for this problem, so we're going to go back to stat. And we want it to calculate our equation, so we're going to go over to calc. And we want quadratic regression, so quad reg. Once you're in quad reg, as long as you're not messing with any of the settings, you shouldn't have to change this at all. So what it's saying is your X values are in list 1, it's saying your Y values are in list 2, so we can just enter on down to calculate. What I love about this is it gives you the skeleton of your equation. So there's our standard form quadratic equation, and so we can now write what the equation of this data would be. So we would say Y equals, and it says ax squared. Well, it tells us a, so we're going to do 3 decimal places. So we're going to say negative 0.027 x squared. So I'm just following the skeleton it gave me, a, and then x squared. And I might run out of room on my sticky note, but we have plus b, so plus 1.058 x, and then plus c, so plus 0.672. Alright, so that is your equation. So let me see if I can show you a little better. Alright, so we've just taken all of our values that the calculator gave us, and of course there's a glare, that the calculator gave us and plugged it into the equation. So you can do this every single time you have a list of values. You can put your X's in L1 and your Y's in L2. So once again, you'll go to stat and you'll enter your data and edit. and then you'll go to Stat, go to Calc, and you'll choose Quadratic Regression and just keep pressing Enter. Now, one thing to be really careful of is when you clear your list, you'll highlight that list name and you'll hit Clear, Enter. Clear, Enter. Do not highlight and press Delete. I'm going to show you what happens. When I press Delete, that entire list just went away. We'll have to reset the calculators if that happens because I don't even know how to fix that. So 7 plus, or second plus 712. We reset our calculator, so now my list will be back. But please be really careful when you're clearing your list. Make sure you don't hit delete on a list. You want to clear your list. So just to finish up this problem, if he traveled 15 meters, everywhere you see X, you would put 15 in those parentheses. And then you would plug it into your calculator. So let me show you really quick how to do that on the calculator. So we'll go back up. Alright, so what we would do is we would take negative 0.02715 squared, whoops, plus 1.058 parentheses 15 plus 0.672. And so that means when the discus is 15 meters away from him, it is 10.467 meters in the air. And so that's how we use quadratic regression using graphing calculators.